All right, I've got a new firearm to show you guys. This is the Taurus TX22. This was introduced at the 2019 SHOT Show. Let's go over some of the features on this brand new handgun. The Taurus TX22 was introduced, like I mentioned before, at SHOT Show of 2019. This little firearm has stirred up a little bit of conversation on the internet. Past couple of days before me making this video anyways, I posted some pictures of this handgun on my Instagram page. And some people are basically wanting to see it. They're interested in it. But some people say, why in the world are you even wasting your time reviewing a Taurus? Because let's just be honest, some of the older Taurus semi-automatic pistols, they didn't perform very well. Not only accuracy, but also their reliability. This is not my handgun. Taurus did not send me this handgun. This was lent to me by my friends at Clarksville Guns and Archery. And so I have to basically tell you that for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm going to give you 100% honest opinion like I've always given you in every single one of my videos, but also I haven't been able to put the round count through this rimfire like I usually do with my other 22 pistols before I give a review. At this point, I'm probably at about 250 to 300 rounds through it. Usually, I try to test my pistols at about 5, 6, even sometimes 1,000 rounds before I even turn on the camera. But in this case, I've only got 250 rounds through this handgun. So how has the new Taurus TX22 ran? Well, I have put 250 to 300 rounds through it at this point, and I've had one failure to feed out of all that ammunition, and I'm using bulk ammo. I checked it when it went click. There was not one in the chamber, and it was on the second round, okay? Sometimes a lot of rimfires are very finicky on that second round. You put the first round in and you shoot it, and sometimes with the tension of the spring in the magazine, it just doesn't put one in there. But that's the only time it's happened. I'm gonna be shooting a lot more here coming up in the video, but for that one failure to feed, that's really pretty good for a rimfire. I own several Taurus revolvers. I do not own a Taurus semi-automatic, and it has been years since I've actually had one in my hands. Now, this is a striker fire pistol, and I guess it's on the market to compete with the SR22s and the Walthers and the SIGs that are on the market. This is basically designed to be a trainer pistol if you own a striker fire pistol. This is a striker fire pistol. It's not like the SR22 that has a hammer that you can fire it in single or double action. And one cool thing about this handgun, it does have 16 rounds in the magazine. So it's a lot more than 10 rounds like you would see in most of your 22 pistols. This one does come from the factory with two 16-round magazines. All right, I've loaded up some Federal Champion 36 grain. This is actually out of their new BYOB bottle. Basically, it's bulk ammo. It's some of my favorite bulk ammo to shoot. But before I go over more details on this handgun, let's do some more shooting here. So, safety. All right, we're out. All right, so let's go over some of the features on this handgun. First and foremost, it's completely ambi. You have your safety on both sides, which is really nice for a left-hand shooter or a right-hand shooter. The grips have a really nice texture, and it doesn't move a lot in your hand. I really like the grips. It just feels very, very good in my big Sasquatch hands. Also, the trigger is about a 5-pound. Now, it feels kind of like your typical striker fire trigger, so which it makes for a really good training pistol. It's about 5 pounds. It's got a little bit of mush to it, but once it stops, it breaks very clean, and the trigger reset is very short. It does have your tack rail right here on the front, so you can mount a laser flashlight, a banana, an orange, apple, pineapple, whatever you want to mount underneath this pistol. And the magazine release comes from the factory on the left-hand side, but you can swap it to the right-hand side if you want to. So if you're a lefty and you want the magazine release over here on this side, you can put it. Now, one of the, I guess, the cons of this handgun is two things that I have found out so far. It is not a deal breaker by any means, or no means, however you say that phrase, but the sights, okay? It has a 3-dot sighting system on it, and the rear sight is fully adjustable for windage and elevation. However, with high velocity ammo that I've been shooting, I cannot move the sight down far enough. I'm always printing high. I've got it adjusted far low as I can possibly put it, and I'm still printing about, I guess, about 2 inches high at 40 feet. It's not a deal breaker, but I like to be able to put that front sight exactly on my target. Maybe these sights that came from the factory, there may be something wrong with them. I doubt there is. But I cannot get a fine bead. I like shooting with the fine bead on my front sight. I just have to shoot at 6 o'clock on my targets, which is not a deal breaker. But, you know, I do wish the sights were a little bit different. Now, another thing that is one of the cons for me are the magazines. They're not the worst magazines in the world, but they are a polymer magazine, and they do feed extremely reliable besides that one little hiccup that I had, but it's loading them. They do have 2 tabs, and I'll give you a close-up here in a minute. They do have 2 tabs here, but it takes a lot of force to pull this tight magazine all the way down. I found that it's easier to load these magazines just like you would load a typical 9mm magazine or any kind of centerfire. Just put that first round in there and just feed them instead of using these tabs on the side. Now, I can say not only has it been really, really reliable, I am very impressed with the accuracy of this handgun. I don't know if it's me or if it's the handgun, but I can shoot it extremely well, in my opinion, compared to other smaller frame training .22 long rifle pistols. One of the cool features of the Taurus TX22 is the takedown. A lot of rimfire pistols are a pain in the derriere to take down and clean. This one's pretty simple. First, make sure that the handgun is unloaded and the magazine is out. There's a little takedown latch right here, but before you pull down the takedown latch, you must dry fire it. Once you dry fire it, pull the latch, the barrel slightly back, pull the latch down, and the barrel comes off just like so. That way you can, well, not the barrel, but the slide, you can then take the barrel out, the springs, and clean them. And you simply line it up at about, I guess, about a ½ inch to the front, and simply pull back, and you're good to go. This pistol would make a great suppressor host if it was threaded. It actually is. It does come with a barrel nut right here on the end of it, and it also does come with one of these adapters that is 1/2 by 28. I've already loosened it off of camera. So first you make sure that the firearm is loaded, of course, and the action is open, just like so, because I don't really like putting my hand in front of the muzzle of a firearm without making sure. Then you simply put this little thread adapter on here. You can hand tighten it, but it's best to take a little wrench and tighten that up, but I will use the suppressor to do that. Got my little silencer Coast Sparrow. And one of the good things about the TX22 shooting suppressed is this. It is has a side eject. A lot of your smaller .22 rimfire pistols, the top of the action opens up. So you get a lot of powder, like burnt powder and carbon back in the face when you're shooting suppressed .22 LR on an open top design, such as, you know, your SR22s and even your Smith & Wesson M&P .22 compacts. You get a lot of powder and carbon right back in the face, and it's not really a great suppressor host in my opinion. But since this one is side eject, sort of like that of a Ruger or a Smith & Wesson Victory, you don't get all that mess back in your face. So I've got some magazines loaded up here. Now this is with the 36 grain Federal Champion, and let's shoot it suppressed. All right, we are out. Now, another question that people are probably going to wonder, I've shot high velocity and low velocity out of this gun. Now I've got some CCI standard velocity, which in my opinion is considered low velocity, but even though CCI calls it standard, it's firing at 1,070 feet per second, and it is really fun to shoot out of a suppressor. Let's see how it runs. Got to aim a little bit higher with it, standard. Let's go out to 100. This handgun I'm serious. I haven't been a huge Taurus semi-automatic fan in the past years, but this pistol has me sold. It's been very accurate. It's been extremely reliable for a rimfire. You can put a suppressor on it. It has 16 round magazines. I think you can also get 10 round magazines for some states where it's non-American to own anything past 10 rounds. It's striker fire, so it makes a very, very good training handgun. And the ergonomics, how it's set up, it fits my hands well. Everything is exactly where it needs to be. And I'm impressed. I've been very impressed with this handgun. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Go over to my Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter page and ask them there. Until next time, y'all be safe and keep blinking.